The Gospel of Jesus Christ according to Matthew. Mount 9:32-38. At that time, people brought to Jesus a demon-possessed man who was mute. When the demon was driven out, the man spoke, and the crowd was amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "He casts out demons by the prince of demons." Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few." 38 Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. Introduction. When words fail. In life, we often fall silent because of pain. You might think, if I speak up, everything will fall apart. I'll have to face myself and those wounds that aren't healed yet. Long ago, Jesus met a mute man, someone bound by sin or by a dark force that kept him from speaking. After Jesus cast out the demon, the man spoke. It was a miracle, and everyone was amazed. What feels like a distant story is actually very close to you. If your heart has ever been unsettled and your words caught in your throat, if your heart has ever been broken by deep hurts, you're that mute person in real life. Jesus, the one who always has compassion. Understanding our pain. In the Gospel of Matthew we read, when Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Mount 9:36. Compassion here is more than surface empathy. It is the heart aching, wanting to reach out and soothe. In our modern lives, you might see a cafe patron, eyes teary but forcing a tired smile. That's a sign they need to be heard. A shoulder, a gentle touch. In the same way, Jesus saw the crowd, each face, each story, and he felt profound compassion. He reaches each person. Jesus didn't just speak empty words. He traveled through villages and synagogues, healed the sick, and proclaimed the kingdom of God. He reached out to each individual, those weary, those in pain, those neglected, not from a distance, but eye to eye and heart to heart. Here's a personal example. Once I saw a lottery ticket seller shivering on the sidewalk. I stopped and bought a ticket, not caring if it won. When I handed him the money, he cried, just because someone saw him, asked how he was, and bought a ticket. Sometimes, friendliness and presence alone can heal. 3. A promise to become healers. The harvest is plentiful, but laborers few. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. To God, people are like ripe grain. In your life, there are countless people who are weary, burdened, crying out to be rescued from darkness. Fatigue, illness, stress, even spiritual nightfall, all represent that crowd of ripe grain. How often do you pause long enough just to listen, pray, or offer a hug, so that someone else's grain can be harvested? Each of us can be a harvester. Jesus invites you every day. Pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers. You may not go to large crowds, but you can be a harvester in everyday relationships, family, friends, co-workers, even strangers in a hospital corridor. A neighbor of mine visited an elderly woman weekly, cooking and talking to her. When the woman passed away, I attended her funeral and felt her life come alive as my friend shared. She laughed so much when I brought the chicken she loved. My friend had harvested a precious life grain that many overlooked. IV. Illustrative stories. 1. The example of Saint Peter. Saint Peter was tempted and denied Christ. Yet Jesus never abandoned him. After the resurrection, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" JN 21:15-17. Entrusting him with the care of his sheep, Peter became a harvester, humble, preaching, leading many souls to Christ. Our own wounds can become platforms for serving others. 2. A folk tale. In a village, a boy collected seashells along the shore and returned them to the sea. An elderly man asked, "Why bother? There are so many." The boy replied, "Even one shell returned stops it from drying out. It saves a living thing." The boy is the harvester, caring for each single grain. Small acts often hold great meaning. 3. A real-life story. In college, a classmate often sat alone. I sat down, offered conversation and tea, and bit by bit she opened up. By the next semester, she was more outgoing and confident, and we became close friends. Sometimes, by harvesting someone else's grain, we also harvest joy for ourselves. Versus awakening and healing. A. Awareness. Recognizing needs. We often overlook small needs in others. We focus inward, forgetting that friends around us may be battling storms. Awareness is seeing. Someone needs your eye contact, your words, your text. "I'm thinking of you." That caring act is healing, comforting, supporting, reminding them, you are not alone. B. The joy of being a harvester. Once I sat with a friend who had lost a loved one. Unsure what to say, I simply said, "I'm sorry. I'm here with you." Then I bought tea and spent the whole afternoon listening to her. When we parted, she held my hand and said, "I feel lighter now." I realized that while the grain needed harvesting, the harvester also received a refreshing breeze and a sense of wholeness. V. The journey of healing. Acknowledge you used to be the mute. Dare to look at your wounds. To share your story with God or a trustworthy person. Pray for harvesters. Ask God to give you sensitivity and strength to help others. Start small. Send a "Have a peaceful day" text. Bring a snack to someone alone. Give an encouraging word. Listen more than you speak. Sometimes silence is the most powerful language. Give without expecting return. When you give, you already receive. Don't ask, "What do I get?" The act itself is the gift. Trust God with the rest. You're the tool. He is the artist. You sow. He blesses. He brings harvest. V. A blessing. May God bless every step you take. May He shine light in dark places. May He fill your heart with compassion so that you may share compassion and help gather a full harvest. Conclusion. Dear friend, this journey doesn't end once you've listened to someone. It continues in every gaze, every smile, every word, every embrace. When you cannot speak, Jesus speaks for you. When you cannot take a step, He lifts you. And when you stand again, He tells you, "Now that grain needs you, go and harvest." May this reflection be breath for your spirit, light for your path, and a serene companion as you continue to heal. Be healed, and become a harvester of hope in the world.